Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. There is a little bit of emotion around this ride. So, let's get going and I'll tell you all about it. Well, you may have noticed that the time of day has quite clearly changed from when I recorded that intro. I pulled away, went to restart the camera, and GoPro said no. I hadn't bothered to charge the battery up, so couldn't continue with the video at the time I wanted. But a bit of explanation about it. It was a bit of a weird ride, because it was the last time I'll probably, well, it is the last time I'll ride away from my employer at that place, because I don't work there anymore, and I've been there 20 years. So don't panic. I've not been sacked, I've not been made redundant, and I haven't actually technically left the business. I was asked to go and help out another dealership in Bristol because they were short of staff. They lost their service manager and workshop controller. I was up there for a couple of days, and general manager and the group asked me if I'd take on the job permanently. And to be honest with you, it's one of the flagship dealerships for the group, one of the busiest dealerships for the group, and it was a real opportunity for me to take. I'm at that stage of my life where I've probably got one more challenge left in me, I think, and I think this is it. So that's why it was the last ride away, which is, you know, a little bit sad. I've worked with a lot of these guys for 20 years. I've worked with some of them for, you know, the last 10, 15 years, and I've loved it there. What I would say, because of the team that I work with, or have worked with, and the effort they put in alongside me, my dealership there was running like a really well-oiled machine. They are such good people. They work so hard, but because they work so hard, it makes the days more comfortable and actually run like clockwork. And I think that's the reason why it was right for me to move away now. The opportunity arose and I would have been silly not to take it. So that's why it was the last ride away. But that's not the ride away we got today. Today we are heading, and I say we because I've got Gary in front of me on his Ducati Multistrada, which is gorgeous. I was hoping he's going to be on his SP1. He's got a Honda VTR SP1, but I think with the heat, because it's expected to be around 33, 34 degrees today, I think he thought better to have a little bit of comfort in the seating position instead of 4 hours of today being sat on a plank, which is how he describes it. And I don't blame him, to be fair. So that's what we're off to, Thruxton. Well, that's where we're off to, Thruxton. We are going to the British Superbikes at Thruxton. And what's even more amazing than that is we're actually going with complimentary tickets and all the bangs and whistles that go with it from LKQ. Because your man in front, Gary, is the body shop manager. They deal with LKQ, and he was invited with another friend to go with him. He couldn't find any friends, so he asked if I'd go. And of course I jumped at the chance. Hell yeah. Thing is, I haven't been to a major motorcycle race meet since I think 1997, when I went to Brands Hatch to watch Carl Fogarty, and that's a long time ago. So right now we're off to Thruxton. You're in for a treat with some of the roads we're going to ride on. I'm going to stop the camera here for a moment. We'll wait till we get out on some new roads, because you know these roads like the back of your hand, the same as I do, over Burrington and out towards Wells. Beautiful roads, but let's wait and see and catch up in a moment where we've got some new ones. My voice just went then. See you in a bit. So as we ride across the roof of Somerset on the way to Thruxton, let's talk about bikes, because that's what we're here for, isn't it? So I'm out on the VTR today. Now, over the last sort of 12-18 months, there's been a few guys that I follow on YouTube, awesome guys. Saddlebags has recently bought one, and Lockwood 92, who incidentally I'll be wearing his t-shirt today around Thruxton, bought one a little while back and has restored an older Honda. I'm talking about sort of 90s and into the noughties Hondas like this, 1998 VTR. And the quality of them, and you know what, it's just great. I mean, I'm probably cursing myself now, and I'll have problems with this one today, but they're just such good bikes. They're built properly. You can feel the quality, you know, as you're riding it. My gearbox, this bike's done nearly 45,000 miles, and my gearbox still feels like a new gearbox. And that's absolutely amazing. But what I wanted to talk about is not just about old Hondas and restoring old Hondas, but about owning bikes, and about whether you should own one really expensive bike or several cheap bikes if you've got that sort of budget. If you haven't got a budget, then you know, you may as well turn off now, because this is going to be extremely boring and irrelevant to you. But if you still want to subscribe, carry on. I don't want to stop you subscribing or anything. But I've got, you know, I as most of you know, if you've been on my channel for a while, I had a Ducati Monster. At the time it was, what, 3-4-year-old. And it was like, it was using up all the spare funds that I had to own a motorbike. But I decided to sell that. We were looking at a house move again. If you follow my channel, you'll know. And things we had to do were reduce our outgoings so that we could get more money on the mortgage to buy the house we wanted. So I sold that and bought this bike here. Just paid off the finance, stopped the outgoings, and what I had left over I used to buy this, which was 1,800 English pounds. 1,800 well spent English pounds, I must add. But then in the new year, this year, I thought, right, I've got a little bit of spare cash available now, so I could have traded this in and gone out and bought something with the value of this plus my spare. But I thought what I want to do is actually buy something that's totally different, a completely different riding style, something that also, and it did work, and I'm eternally grateful for it, it gave my other half the confidence to come out on the back with me, which she hasn't done, or hadn't done, for over 20 years, well over 20 years. So I then had two bikes, and I've now got two bikes that I love. I've got my Harley Davidson Sportster, and I've got my VTR 1000. Totally different ends of the spectrum, but actually I enjoy each one every bit as much. Although I will say, after being on this for about 3/4 of an hour now, my wrists are starting to just very slightly feel that I'm back on a sporty bike. So I just wondered what your thoughts were. I mean, there's some guys out there who've got 3, 4, 5, 6 bikes, and that's amazing. I mean, how you get up in the morning and can choose which bike you want to ride, I don't know, because I struggle with two. But what are your thoughts? If you had a budget, let's put a figure on it, let's say 6,000, alright? Would you go out and buy a £6,000 motorbike? Or would you think, do you know what, I'm going to buy two motorbikes for 3,000, or one for 4 or one for 2, and give myself different options whenever I want to ride the bike? So it just was something to think about. I wondered about it. I did think at one point whether to sell this and sell the Sportster and buy maybe a more competent cruiser for me and the other half, but in reality this bike owes me nothing. Why would I want to sell it? The trade-in value for it is nowhere near my valuation of it, because to me it's just every bit as good as a new bike you can buy now. So why would I want to change it? But also the Sportster is my little cruiser, so even if I do get another big Harley for the two of us to go some distance on, I probably want to keep my Sportster and turn it into a flat tracker, which has always been my plan. So that's your thoughts for today. I'm going to end this video now. And then hopefully if you catch up with me next week and my GoPro battery doesn't do another then next week's video will be at Thruxton, talking, watching and enjoying British superbikes. Stay safe everyone, stay safe, I'll get my words out. Stay safe everyone, take care, and I'll catch you on the flip side.